Hey, welcome to this special edition of the Horse Racing Show. I'm Kenny Rice from Baltimore. Let's call this episode 17A as we get ready for the Preakness Stakes. And it's been a real interesting time in Baltimore this week, as quiet as I've ever seen the barn area around the Preakness time. Of course, that's because we don't have the top three Derby finishers. The first time it's happened in over half a century, well over that. And that has opened the field up. So people are coming here and they're challenging and they think they have a shot. And who knows? One of the interesting stories here is Improbable with Bob Baffert, and Mike Smith is back aboard. Of course, you know he opted out to ride for Baffert at the Derby. He decided to ride Omaha Beach, who was eventually scratched. He did get Cutting Humor as his mount, but they're back together again, and that's a big deal for them. Interesting here that Wayne Lucas is back on the scene. The king of horse racing. He set the standard for Baffert and all the trainers that have followed Lucas. So he's here now with his 43rd, 44th Preakness starter in Market King, who is a long shot, but he did get medical clearance. And that was the question. Would he be able to even race? But he is. So he'll be in the field. I don't think it's going to affect anything, but he'll be here. And of course, with me is Scott Hall and Thomas Kenny. Guys, I would say there in the studio, it's as exciting as it is up here in Baltimore. I don't want to knock the race. It's the second jewel of the Triple Crown. We have Improbable back from the Derby, and we also have War of Will back from the Derby. But the buzz, as you know, it's kind of like if the Warriors got knocked out of the playoffs, which they won't. Would it still be the same if you had the Memphis Grizzlies, for example, playing for the championship?
Yeah.
Are you excited? You all will sound excited.
Oh, we're excited. I'm just still trying to figure out what I'm going to do since Country House isn't running, Kenny.
Well, you know what? There's Market King. That's going to be your long shot. How's
All
that?
right,
I don't know.
I'll take it.
I don't know if it will be or not, Scott. But hey, you're the one that picked Country House. How come you're not doing this show? Why am I even here?
Oh, come on now, Kenny. You give me way too much credit.
But you know, here's an interesting one. And Thomas likes the number, so here's an interesting one. Warriors Charge was not nominated for any of the Triple Crown races. You can do that the first of the year for a small fee, like $600. And of course, you don't get your money back if your horse is a flop and doesn't even make it to the Derby. But it keeps growing. You have chance to add incrementally as we get closer to the other Triple Crown races. But Warriors Charge, their people didn't think he had much of a chance at one time. So now they paid $150,000 to supplement him to this race.
Wow.
That's more than he's earned in five career starts.
Wow.
He's not even made that. And to get their money back, they need to finish third, which would pay $181,500.
Wow.
In this race.
Talk about high stakes.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest bet that's going to be made on Preakness Day.
Oh, yeah.
But they've got some guys like Marshall Graham is one of the guys in this ownership group that they have. He's an interesting guy. He's, hey, Thomas, you're like this. He's big on stats and problem solving.
I like the stats and problem solving.
Yeah, well, that's what this guy does. And he's also qualified for the National Handicapping Championship. So, he's a good handicapper.
Oh,
and Brad Cox, who's been on our show before, is the trainer. And they've got Javier Castellano as the jockey. So if you really want to take a shot at a long shot, this Warriors Charge, to maybe get up there on the board would be kind of an interesting one, I think.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and Brad's great. I think that's my pick, man.
Okay, there you go.
Thanks, Kenny. Hey, Kenny, I was going to ask you how. What's the talk? Are you still getting hearing chatter about what happened at the Derby there, or is everyone pretty much it's behind you and they're focused on the Preakness?
No, Scott, because, again, it never happened in 144 previous Derbies. Derby 145, it happens. Mm-hmm. So the greatest 2 minutes in sport have turned into the longest 2 weeks of a postmortem. They're still talking about it. There was actually a war of words between War of Will's trainer, Mark Cassie, who just made a statement that his horse, as you look back at the tape, he got impeded, and he did. But by the horse that finished first and then, of course, was disqualified, Maximum Security. And Gary West, the owner of Maximum Security, who's now involved in a lawsuit, in trying to probably even make it. It's seriously going to become a federal case.
Wow.
He took umbrage that anybody would even suggest, and he said that maybe it was war of will that ran up the back of maximum security, not vice versa. So that's been a little bit of the soap opera aspect of this year's race, and really outside of that, the people are here. They're going to have over 100,000 people, and it is the second jewel of the Triple Crown, and no one's taking that race lightly. And there's horses in here that you could say, why are they here? But they are. And who knows? I think after Country House, it's hard to say. We've got, we got horses out there. They're 30-1 trying to market, like Market King. I mentioned he's probably going to be the longest shot out there. But Warrior's Charge is 12-1, by the way. He's not some 50-1 shot. Bourbon War's getting a lot of attention. He's probably going to go off around 10-1 or so. So, that could really be interesting. But I think it's going to be War of Will, Bourbon War, or Improbable. I think one of those three have the best shot at winning this race.
Yeah.
Which means the long shot will probably win it.
Yeah, I don't know, Kenny. It could be the year of the long shot, 2019.
Yeah. Thomas, you're right, man. This really could be it. And wow, won't that make for even a wider open Belmont? Because that's even some of the speculation now. Who do you think is going to go on to the Belmont Stakes? I have a feeling it'll probably be someone. I think there might be a horse or two that come out of here. I think Tacitus will probably see him again from the Derby that goes on to the Belmont. But as of now, we don't know. Maximum Security's back in Jersey. He's kicking back, taking it easy. Country House has had a little throat issue. So I don't know when we're going to see those two again, probably in the summer, maybe around the Haskell or Jim Dandy. But that looks like the situation right now. So the bottom line is racing doesn't have its star. The Derby is always its star. That doesn't exist right now because the Derby winner obviously is on the sideline for the moment. So you're coming in maybe all of racing hoping to see a spectacular race out here, if not a dominating performance. And I think they're too bunched together that one horse isn't going to just take it over. But if you have an exciting race, there's still talk obviously about what happened at that Derby. I think there'll be interest in this race. And another horse in there is just Always Mining. Kelly Rubley was a school teacher. She was a school administrator and school teacher for 10 years, has 2 master's degrees, was a science teacher, and now she's trying for history. She could become the first female to ever train a Triple Crown race winner. That's never happened. So she's with Always Mining, the Maryland horse. And Maryland horses haven't won since 1983, this race. So, there's some good storylines in it. There's some interest. And I think it'll be a really competitive race. That's what I like about it. It's going to be a good betting race for people. And I hope that, they just kick back and enjoy it and accept the fact that, it's still the second jewel of the Triple Crown. This is a race that is important in the horse racing world. And everybody in here knows that.
That's right. Well said.
So you guys better watch me.
We will.
I mean, watch me on TV or,
Right.
whatever, put me under surveillance, whatever you need.
We got you covered, Kenny.
Yeah, I know that. So that's really this from Baltimore. Again, it's low key. There is excitement and there is a lot of curiosity and a lot of questions and some really good storylines in this race. And again, I think it shapes up to be a fun race and apparently no rain. At least that's the forecast, no rain. So I don't know what I'll do walking around dry all day.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
I left the boots at home too, so it's probably best.
Yeah. Well, that's great hearing from you, Kenny, and hopefully we can have a good, clean race tomorrow. And this sets up, and it does in its own way. You're right. Even without the first star in the Triple Crown here, it does. It's still these 3 races. They're amazing.
Oh, they are, and there's nothing like it, and there'll be millions of people tuning in, and it is a Triple Crown race, and that's really what it comes down to. I don't think we had the most exciting Super Bowl I've ever seen this past one with the Patriots winning, but it's the Super Bowl, and there's always something special about that. So again, and this will be the second most attended horse race all year, behind only the Kentucky Derby, of course. And that's, that in itself is something special. And, we'll have the usual, is this the last year at Pimlico? Are they going to move it to Laurel Racetrack, a little south of here? That's always that's been the talk for a couple of decades now. I don't know about that, some of the other side stories to all this, but the bottom line is it's going to be a race. They're going to have a lot of horses that think they can win it.
And at the very least, it'll be more exciting than the F1 race at Barcelona this last week.
How'd that go?
Field pretty much stayed the same all the way through. There really wasn't any overtaking, no excitement. Just everybody hot lapping pretty much.
Flat.
That sounds like a harness race, doesn't it? You really, yeah, I like harness races. I covered it a long time, but you get one horse kind of in the lead, and then the other horse, everybody kind of stays in line. I don't think we're going to see that out here. I think we're going to have a race that gets real competitive right off the start. And if it doesn't, I'm going to talk about Barcelona, Thomas.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, that's all I got from Maryland right now. Like I say, we're just kind of waiting around, and hopefully everybody has a clean trip. I think that's the biggest thing. That's the only thing that all the trainers say, and they'll say that before any race, but given what happened at the Derby, we want to make sure everybody just has a clean trip and has a shot. And if you get beat, you get beat. And hopefully there's no objections or inquiries, and we don't have to wait around and everybody gets confused again. So be sure to join us for episode 18, the next time we talk here on the Horse Racing Show. For Scott Hall and Thomas Kenny, I'm Kenny Rice from Baltimore, and we'll talk again soon.